evening. You're watching News Night, and the top story tonight is yet another big bombshell that the Congress party will have to deal with back home here in India. A representative team of the Overseas Indian National Congress met Labour leaders in the UK, along with the top shadow ministers of the Labour government there, I beg your pardon, the Labour Party there. And immediately after, Jeremy Corbyn, who is the Labour leader currently in UK, tweeted that international perhaps interference or international efforts are needed to make sure that there is a de-escalation in the human rights abuses and violations in the valley of Jammu and Kashmir. This, of course, was not taken so lightly by the BJP, immediately attacking the Congress party, accusing the Congress party of trying to internationalize an issue which here in India is seen as an integral and an internal matter, even by the Congress party themselves. Now, Times Now spoke to members of that particular political team that went to meet Labour leaders in UK and put some tough questions to them. Before I introduce my guest tonight on Newsnight, here's a look at what they told Times Now. They say that the Congress party maintains that Kashmir is an internal issue for India, the country, but they're obviously always concerned about human rights violations wherever they might take place. Take a look at this.
I'm being told that Ms. Randhawa, who was one of the members of this delegation, is now joining us on the phone line, I'm told, from London. Ms. Randhawa, thank you for speaking to Times Now. Do you believe that it was wise on the part of the Congress party to internationalize the Kashmir issue when it is against the stated position of not just this government, the present government, the NDA government under Mr. Modi, but also, of course, when the Congress ruled India in the past? Ms. Randhawa, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes, definitely. Mainly we had a meeting with the Labour president in London, and we confirmed that the Kashmir issue is the internal matter of India, and Kashmir is still a very integral part of India. So none of the external forces or countries have any right to get involved.
But
so
Ms. Randhawa, after your meeting, Mr. Jeremy Corbyn suggested that he agreed with your position that human rights violations were a matter of serious concern in Jammu and Kashmir. So what you're saying is not borne out by what Mr. Jeremy Corbyn has said.
The thing is, human rights is always a concern wherever that happens. This is what we said to them. So it is a general...
no, but why did you go to the member of the British Labour Party? Who are they? Have you forgotten that the British violated human rights in a blatant manner in India when they ruled for 250 years? Have you forgotten the number of Indians that starved because of famines that were induced by British policies? I want to ask you.
Ms. Randhawa, I want to know one basic thing. Were you in touch with the Congress party in New Delhi before you went for this meeting with the British members of Parliament?
We were not in touch with the Congress party in New Delhi before this meeting, because this meeting was a private meeting.
Private meeting to discuss human rights issues in Kashmir with a British member of Parliament?
Human rights issues. It wasn't to discuss the human rights issue. It was to confirm the statement that we believe and we confirm that India is integral part of Kashmir is integral part of India, and the Kashmir issue is India's internal matter. That is what we can.
But I can say that there is a different point of view within the Labour Party. Myself and few other members of Parliament, especially of Indian origin, strongly believe that Kashmir issue is the internal matter of India. It's the Indian government and the Indian people to decide what is wrong, what is right. We cannot, as elected members of the British Parliament, and anybody else have no right to interfere in the internal matters of any country, but especially a country which have the democratic and secular traditions for a long time. And we don't believe whatever anybody says regarding that matter that they have any right to say so.
So massive controversy over that particular visit. We are joined by Neha Joshi of the BJP. Also with us on the program tonight is MC Abbas. He's a political analyst. Neha Joshi, let me come to you first. The Congress party is now trying very hard, one, to suggest that they were there only to reiterate to the Labour leadership that Kashmir is an internal matter for India and there's no two ways about it. Whatever Corbyn tweeted later could be perhaps his own reading of the situation. On the other hand, you have hard attacks coming in here on the Congress party, accusing them of internationalizing the issue. Do you believe there was any need to go to the Labour leadership and discuss Kashmir whatsoever, even if it was to reiterate the Indian government's position, as the Congress overseas members claims to Times Now?
Thank you, Athar. Athar, first of all, the Labour Party has been endorsing Pakistani propaganda on the Kashmir issue. This MP in question, Mr. Jeremy Corbyn, on September 29, led the passing of a resolution on Kashmir, calling for internationalization of the issue and calling for a UN-led referendum. 10 days later, the Congress party's delegation decides to meet him to discuss human rights in Kashmir. How is this a coincidence? I feel this is part of a larger design. Congress party will not stop at any length when it comes to humiliating India, and all of this for what? For opposing the Bharatiya Janata Party, for opposing Prime Minister Modi? I do not think that they have any national interest in their heart anymore. The president of the Indian Overseas Congress, who's known to be very close to Rahul Gandhi, is seen leading this delegation. How can they have the guts to say now that this was a harmless visit to discuss the human rights of Kashmir and reiterate our position that it's an internal issue? Ridiculous.
Okay, fair enough. MC Abbas, respond. The fact that Neha Joshi and the BJP says there was first of all no need to go meet somebody whose left-leaning views and very controversial views, I might add, on issues like Kashmir are quite well known. His Conservatives critics in the UK call him or his policy towards issues like Kashmir problematic, to say the least. Is it a coincidence that somebody who's considered to be close to the Congress leadership here in India, the overseas chapter president or head or whatever you want to call him, was the one leading the delegation? And it does look like now the Congress is trying to damage control, saying that we were only there to reiterate the government's position on Kashmir. What was the need to meet Jeremy Corbyn, who's already before today called for international interference on Kashmir?
I think, Athar, honestly, you know, with all this hullabaloo, mountain is being made of a molehill. If you look at this very figuratively, where is a statement from Madam Sonia Gandhi ji, the Congress president, or any of the tall leaders of the Congress? The gentleman who met Kamal Dhaliwal, neither from him, the overseas Congress president, or even Gurminder Randhawa, the overseas Congress secretary. In fact, she on your channel has categorically stated that Kashmir is indeed an internal matter. Kashmir is a part of India, and also there will be absolutely no international intervention.
Mr. Abbas, very quickly, I understand that I included that in my opening
Mr.
remarks.
Abbas,
but one second,
that is
Neha.
what they wanted Jeremy Corbyn to endorse. That would have been the statement that Jeremy Corbyn stated on his Twitter handle.
That's my question.
This is what they went him to convince about.
That's my question. MC Abbas,
Jeremy, all right.
MC Abbas,
So,
my question is similar.
Right.
Is similar.
Okay,
One second, Mr. Abbas, my question is similar. What Neha is pointing out right now, that's number one. Number two, is it a mere coincidence that these individuals, Mr. Dhaliwal and the other lady who went there, should have known by now what the current Labour leader, Jeremy Corbyn's position on Jammu and Kashmir is? It's been problematic, like I said, from the very beginning, and at a time when India is trying to push our narrative on the international stage, going and meeting a leader who's, let's say, pro-Pakistan leaning on Kashmir is quite well known. Did it serve any purpose?
irrespective of Mr. Corbyn's position, Athar Sahab, what does it say in the tweet? Has anywhere it been mentioned that the Indian Overseas Congress has asked him to intervene, or has asked his party to intervene, or any kind of a nudging or a statement?
It does say that international efforts are needed.
In India
it does
wants
say,
him to intervene.
Mr. Abbas, it does say international efforts are needed to de-escalate the situation in Jammu and Kashmir, and that goes against the Indian government's line, not just the BJP government.
Mr. Corbyn's tweet?
But Mr. Abbas, it's not just the BJP government's position. Previous Congress governments have also said and held the same position that Kashmir is an internal matter for India.
All right, my quick question is, when Donald Trump, the US president, said that Modi wants him to intervene, what do you have to say to that, Neha Joshi ji?
Well, that was in fact borne out by the State Department, who said that no such discussion ever took place in the State Department.
Mr.
Yes,
Abbas,
Neha, go ahead.
I wish you did your homework a little better.
That was a whole and soul statement.
I wish you did your homework a little better, Mr. Abbas. That was immediately clarified.
That was a statement.
Immediately clarified by the State Department.
Therefore, my point is, take the statement. Likewise, Congress shall clarify, and there shall be a statement from Sonia Gandhi ji or the tall leaders from the Congress party.
I'll tell you something, Mr. Abbas.
All right. I have some information. Both Neha and Abbas, we have both some information right now I want to introduce right now, because there is the Indian Overseas Congress UK has tweeted, Neha, and I'd like you to answer this. I'm going to read out the tweet right now. It says that our meeting with Jeremy Corbyn was held to condemn the Kashmir resolution passed by his party, the Labour Party, and to reiterate that J&K is an internal matter and outside intervention will not be accepted. It goes on, Neha, to say that BJP for India's malicious statements are another attempt to distract people from their failures. This is something I wanted to introduce right now, because the Congress seems to be now turning it on its head, suggesting they only went there to condemn Corbyn's resolution. Neha, respond.
Aha, Athar, there you go. You had Gurminder Randhawa earlier speaking to Navika and Rahul. Do you think she forgot in all that she said? I think it was about a 2-minute conversation. She forgot to mention that was the objective of the meeting. This is total damage control. Congress's position within the country has become of a pariah, just as Pakistan's position in the world community has been. Now they've shot themselves in the foot again. And I don't think any of these attempts to whitewash what they've got themselves into
are going to counter that.
No, let her finish her answer. Abbas, I'll come to you. Neha speaking right now.
Absolutely not. If I can counter.
No, 1 second. Neha hasn't finished yet. Neha, please finish your conclude.
So the simple point here it is, when...
No, Athar, please, let him say what he has to say.
Okay,
I think I've made my point.
Fair enough. Abbas, go ahead.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Neha. Much appreciated. Thank you. So the simple point that I derive here, Athar Sahab, is when Donald Trump came up with a statement, which I humbly agree to, that our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji has nothing to do with it. But he did come with a statement saying that Modi is a good friend and he asked him to intervene. And also, therefore, it was clarified. Ma'am, let me finish, please. Let me finish. Yes, ma'am. Let me finish. So therefore, there was a statement from the MEA which categorically stated that Prime Minister Modi did not ask him to intervene because it's a bilateral issue. So therefore, I think the tweet from the Indian National Congress has clarified the statement, and it should put an end to all kind of stigmata, rumors, or even allegations on the Congress party.
Now, do you buy this, or do you believe this is damage control? Because after all, the tweet was caught on early on, and Jeremy Corbyn's, well, some would say anti-India line on Kashmir is quite well known. Do you believe when the Congress party now says that they not only condemn the resolution passed by the Labour Party, but also reiterated the government's current position on Jammu and Kashmir, is that too hard to believe? Is that too far-fetched?
Athar, it's not what I believe in. In fact, it's what the country believes in. Congress's stand on this issue has been ambiguous right from the start. We've seen different leaders singing different tunes. Rahul Gandhi's statements find themselves being used in Pakistan's dossier to the UN. So all of this, it speaks of a design. All of this cannot be a mere coincidence. I think in their attempts to act as an opposition party, what they've become is an anti-national party. I'm very confident and very careful when I use that phrase here on national television, because any party that goes on to the international stage, stands with a leader who dares to pass a resolution asking for a UN referendum on what is India's internal matter is anti-national for me.
Okay, Amsi Abbas, another question that is doing the rounds currently is that what was the need, in fact, and on what locus standi does Jeremy Corbyn have on the issue of Kashmir when government after government in India has maintained that no third party, apart from India or Pakistan, has any locus standi or any say in how the Kashmir matter is resolved. If he says there must be de-escalation and an end to the cycle of violence, and I'm quoting him right now, and fear which has plagued the region for so long, what locus standi do these people have, the Indian Overseas Congress leaders have, and what locus standi does Jeremy Corbyn have as somebody who's a leader of the Labour Party in the UK?
Absolutely.
What is the locus standi in the first place? Why then give somebody a chance, a handle to even speak about the Kashmir issue is the question.
Yes, I'm glad you asked this question, Athar Saab. Firstly, Mr. Jeremy Corbyn has no local standi whatsoever, and he has no say in the Kashmir matter. As to reiterate the same point, Mr. Kamal Dhaliwal, the Overseas Congress President,
and
also
Party specifically sought him to meet.
The Secretary, shows on your channel, and Neha ji, let me finish, ma'am, please. So she made it very, very clear on the show that they went to say that Kashmir is an integral matter of India, and it has nothing to do with international. I think I was very happy when Mr. Virender Sharma came in, also a member of Parliament from the same Labour Party, where it was a slap on the face of Jeremy Corbyn, where he did say that we have no right to say whatsoever, and so does Jeremy Corbyn, because this is the right of the people of secular India. But its people and its government will better decide for Kashmir than the Labour Party
Abbas,
MP, Mr. Jeremy Corbyn.
You do admit that by tweeting, Jeremy Corbyn has put eyeballs on Kashmir, something that successive Indian governments have been trying to avoid. The eyeballs are back. Whether wittingly or unwittingly, it has become internationalized again. Whether for a very short period of time or not, I can't say right now. But don't you believe this meeting perhaps gave the handle to people in Pakistan who've been waiting for a chance like this?
I'm glad, Athar Saab, you asked me this question. What happened to Imran Khan? It fell flat when he raised the same issue in the United Nations General Assembly, his address. He's been shouting on top of his lungs from every podium he gets with every international media channel. But Pakistan Prime Minister, Mr. Imran Khan, has fell flat on the face.
No, but there's
and
a
so
difference.
is a mere MP
there's
like Jeremy Corbyn.
I'm trying to highlight that difference. I'm trying to highlight the difference. When Imran Khan says something on Kashmir, the Western media does not take that much of a notice. When the Labour leader in UK says the same thing or similar things, the Western media will have headlines running for about a couple of days. That's the difference I'm trying to make a distinction here. That when Jeremy Corbyn speaks about Kashmir,
even otherwise, but Athar Sahab, people have known, the international media knows about Corbyn's inclination towards Pakistan. So he will be taken lightly. He's not a neutral person. He has a propaganda and he has an agenda to himself
knows, but the Congress Party doesn't,
Pakistan. So therefore he shall work it accordingly.
A point that is lost on Mr. MC Abbas.
Congress Party has nothing to do with. Absolutely not. Congress Party has nothing or no inclination whatsoever towards Pakistan or any of their agenda. And as a matter of fact, they went there to reiterate the same point that Kashmir is an integral part of India, and so it is an internal matter and requires no international intervention whatsoever. It's a bilateral issue.
Okay,
I think Donald Trump made it very clear to the world when PM Modi ji's team categorically stated that it's a bilateral issue.
Would you like to respond to that, Neha? And then I have a question for you as well. Please respond.
Thank you, Athar. Athar, you know, I have my sympathy with Mr. MC Abbas right now. We don't have any Congress spokesperson sitting here and defending something which cannot be defended. Today, the Congress party has again shown. It has again shown that it will go to any length when it comes to humiliating the country. They sought this one member of parliament. They could have gone to Mr. Virendra Sharma if what Mr. MC Abbas is saying is true. If the idea was to condemn the Labour Party's stand, why seek the one member of parliament who has openly been peddling Pakistan propaganda?
Okay. All right. My last question to Neha Joshi is this: there is a
very
view.
loud and clear, and it's not going to be lost on the Indian population.
My last question.
Just
One second.
that quickly, Athar Sahab.
Very quickly, if you can. Very quickly, yeah.
A quick counter. Yes, a quick counter. Very simply, I think the Indian National Overseas Congress tweet has made it very clear. I think let's all agree and go ahead. This is nothing but Bharatiya Janata Party's malicious attempt at yet again maligning their name. Whereas they went to denounce the UK's stand on the same.
Okay.
I think the whole meeting, the purpose is to do good. But unfortunately, they are being projected.
I believe I only have time for one more question, and that question is to Neha. It's a slightly controversial question, Neha, but I'm going to ask you anyway. There is a school of thought that believes that the manner in which Article 370 was abrogated, it's a 67th day of shutdown in the Kashmir Valley. It was bound to get internationalized in the manner in which the government moved on this. How would you respond to that?
Athar, we live in a world that is connected. We live in the age of internet. Everything is internationalized. Everybody has an opinion on something, but that does not give people locus standi on matters that are internal to India. And India has successfully made that stand very, very clear in a very firm language. The Prime Minister has made statement, the External Affairs Minister has made a statement. We've had multiple meetings, outreach to the world community. However, attempts to return, to get normalcy back to Kashmir have been successful. A few days back, the advisory for tourists not to visit Kashmir has been lifted. We see the BDC elections are going to be held. There's going to be an investor summit. So all of this is being done to make sure that democracy returns to Jammu and Kashmir. And look at what the Congress party does at its turn.
But the question still remains, if democracy and normalcy have returned, Neha, to Kashmir, why are the people still in lockdown? Why are the people not being allowed to communicate with each other? That's my point here. If normalcy has returned, why not lift the curbs?
Kashmir, sorry, Athar, I think that's what I said, that the curbs are being lifted in a gradual manner, and this was necessary considering how sensitive the situation is. I think the fact that there's going to be an investor summit, the fact that tourists are visiting, on social media you see various videos circulating of tourists who are visiting Kashmir, who are vouching for the fact that they are able to move about in a manner like they used to before. I think all of this is testimony to the fact that it's going to take time,
just 2 points
but
here.
Kashmir is going to return back to normal.
Just 2 points here. The investor summit has been postponed. It's not going to happen this year because there was a lack of interest apparently, and this is the government's view. Two, tourists, the tourist advisory has been lifted, but there is no real report really of tourists coming back when they can't even use the mobile services there. That's 2 points I want to make. I'm very short on time right now. MC Abbas, if you can finish in 30 seconds, I'll give you the last word.
Quick counter. Yes. I think in the last 30 seconds. So I think the BJP spokesperson has no friends or relatives in Kashmir. If she really knows the world, still there are communication issues that people aren't able to talk to each other. Even internet is always clamped down. That is the issue being saved even by people of your party in the Bharatiya Janata Party in Kashmir. If you are able to get in touch with them through letters or so on and so forth, you will know that they are suffering. My friends here in Bangalore city are suffering. They are not able to speak to their parents there. And yes, the Investors Summit, Global Investors Summit has turned out to be a jumla. So as the IITs, IIMs, I really wish that certainly Kashmir is a issue. It's a bilateral issue between India, Pakistan.
We're out of time on this one. Neha Joshi and MC Abbas, thank you for joining us. That was News Night. I'm Athar Khan. Thank you for watching.